everybody, Peps and J-Dog here for a massive, a huge, a cataclysmic round 19. Lace out. Your two favourite podcast guys, Peps and J-Dog, here to talk AFL football. Before we get into it, everybody joining us tonight, thank you very much. If you're live online on Facebook or listening to this on your favourite podcast program, we love every single one of you. J-Dog, great to have you in. What a cracking round of football. How you feeling?
Peps, I am feeling July has just made me a little bit tired, Peps. But it's not about us, Peps. It's about the show. So, Peps, why don't you tell everyone what is going on in today's show?
Let me tell you on what's going on. First and foremost, you are with two of the single greatest podcasters you could ever listen to. The man you're listening to right now through your earphones or through your smart speaker is Chris Pepper, the 377-game superstar of the East Keilor Football Club. And the guy sitting in front of me is Jamie, the J-Dog Wallis, ranked number 9 in the world for his age group for Ironman, and an all-round good bloke and a very passionate Port Adelaide supporter. But I tell you what, it's not about us, it's about you guys, and it's about this podcast. So let's get into it. We're going to do the weekend roundup of what we've been going through. We're going to have a look at the ladder, and was there a bit of movement there this week? We're going to spin the magnets. We're going to talk about the rising star. Plenty of news happening off the field, even as we go live tonight. We've got something special for you. We're going to splash the cash on the contracts news, some injury updates. We're going to go to Jamie's listener question, and then finally, we're going to have it 1 week at a time. Simply, what are we looking forward to this week? But we'll start with the J-Dog. Big fella.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a massive weekend. I think only one thing has dominated it so far, and we're not talking footy. It's been the Olympics. Have you just been sitting in front of the tube just watching those magnificent, purebred athletes putting us to shame, just what they're being able to accomplish right now?
Yes. That was my weekend, basically, Peps, and I'm loving the time zone right now. The 1 hour difference is giving me feels in all the right spots, Peps, because I love turning on the TV in the morning, and there is wall-to-wall coverage of Olympics. And the first week's always the best because that's when the Australians are actually playing. The second week is when we get knocked out. Yeah, the second week is when we get knocked out and we actually don't appear on the TV.
I absolutely love it. I don't know where to start, J-Dog. Was it the basketball? Was it the Boomers just doing their thing? Was it the soccer players doing their thing? My kids have been watching the swimming. My wife is going absolutely berserk for it. I love it. How many nuffies are there running this show at the moment? Seriously, sometimes when I see the people running the Olympics at the moment, the only thing I can actually think of is that there's a little bit of this going around. There's a little bit of Benny Hill going at the moment. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the triathlon yesterday? Every shitstorm that happened.
Let's kill that.
Do you want to go with the boat? Do you want to go with the people who decide to jump the gun and swim 150 metres? Or should we take it one step further about them running a triathlon in a basically typhoon today? Should we even go to the BMX biking, where the official decided to just walk across the middle of the track and made the favourite, who's looking forward to winning the first gold medal, complete stack it and wreck his knee potentially for what's going on. Oh, where do we go, mate? It's just, it can only be the Olympics. And I'll tell you what.
You're right.
It can only be the Olympics. Who's going to be this year's Eddie the Eagle? Who is this week's going to be, is it Eddie the Eel? Who is going to be this year's, story that they had no chance of winning, but they've just had a crack, and that's the main thing.
Hey, Peps, maybe, I don't know just yet. We're going to wait for the Olympics, surely. We're going to wait for the athletics, surely. That's when we're going to get our surprises.
No, I'm looking forward to 3-on-3 basketball and speed climbing.
Did you watch that 3-on-3 today? Terrible.
Should be netball. How is pole dancing not an official Olympic event?
Skateboarding? Take that off. Never again.
I don't mind it.
Never again.
A skeg. I don't mind to grind the rails occasionally.
Surfing? Never again.
Nah, surfing I don't mind.
No, I'm not a huge fan of it. Anyway, Peps, what was your weekend like? What'd you do?
Olympics, mate. Olympics, and watch some great games of footy. I have one thing to say. If you're watching the footy on the weekend and you weren't cheering home this mob, you've got rocks in your head. And it's simply this one, my friend.
Kanga, kanga, kanga.
How could you? Jazzy Ruboy is on. He would be trimming in his jeans right now about what North Melbourne is surfing up. Since the bye round, they have been nothing short of extraordinary. My goodness, they look like a shell shock mob, losing by 130 plus.
Yeah.
At the start of the year. Look at what they've turned into now. Whose future's better? I think we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But, geez, I tell you what, there was a bit of kanga, woo, woo, woo.
All right.
From my lips.
Peps.
Yes, buddy boy. Should we have a look at this ladder?
We've got a lot to get through, and I want to have a bit of time out of our show this week, Peps, if we can.
Yeah, all right.
To have some questions for our listeners.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so listeners, any questions that you have, if you're live with us tonight, shoot them in on the chat. We'll answer them for you. If you have any questions and you're listening to this on your podcast, your earbud, your smart speaker, in the car, on the train, going to work, sitting at Centrelink, wherever you're listening to this, drop us a message on the Facebook page. There's a link in the show notes. Rightio. Big fella.
Yep.
It's time to have a look at this ladder.
Rightio.
Okay, so let's
go ups or downs. Who do you want to go first? You can choose.
Let's go with the ladder. We've got to go with the ladder, mate, because there's been a significant amount of change on the ladder so far. So there's not much that we can go into this particular moment in time, but just having a look here, the Western Bulldogs have taken over from the D's at the top of the food chain.
Yes.
Sitting on equal points with the Geelong Cats, who seem to be a bit like a Penfolds Grange. They are getting better with age. 10 over half the team is over 30. I don't know how Dad's Army are doing it.
They're doing it.
Hopefully they're going to fall over. Melbourne, they've hit a case of the speed wobbles. Is it a bad thing? No, they got beaten by the top team, who is the top team, by 3 goals. Was it the end of the world? No. Potentially could have pinched it if they kick straight. That's another story for another day. I got to put a whole episode to that. Port Adelaide had to have the win that they needed, which was great. Brisbane, another big win on the weekend against a very fledgling Gold Coast Suns. Sydney, just keep doing what they're doing. I think that's how many in a row now for the Swans?
Don't know.
I don't know, but they're sitting on 48 points with Brisbane. A game and a half out of the top 4 at the moment. West Coast had a sneaky win to keep their finals pretty much locked in unless a major turnover, something happens with this mob.
Yeah.
GWS have pinched a final 8 spot from Essendon. It looks like Richmond are struggling. Fremantle are falling over. St Kilda, let's be honest, for 3.5 quarters, you were shit Kilda, and there was only one bloke who literally got you over the line. I'm going to talk about him later on too.
Well, Peps, that cluster from 8 down to 12 is really where the interest is now for the rest of the footy watchers, isn't it? To see who makes that final spot.
Yes. But I think there's only 2 teams that can make it, and that's GWS. Okay. I don't think Richmond can. They're too up and down.
Okay.
And even though Ben Rutten said that we should make finals because we're making up the numbers, you've got to give them a taste, mate. You've got to give them a bit of a give them a taste, mate. You might actually win a final. I don't know how long it's been since. I might check the postcode book later on and find out what the postcode for how many days it's been since you've won a final, Essendon. Adelaide keep going backwards. Carlton couldn't get any worse. Hawthorn are shockers. And my goodness, North Melbourne, are they the best team out of the bottom 5 going around at the moment?
That in Adelaide.
Oh, you reckon?
Out of what we're seeing.
Are they playing better than Carlton?
Yeah.
Okay, better than Gold Coast?
Yep. Maybe. More consistent.
Well, yeah, last few weeks, definitely. Adelaide?
Yes and no.
Yes. Collingwood? Definitely. Hawthorn? Definitely. So if they didn't have a bad start to the season, they could be pushing up, middle of the bottom half of the ladder. So plenty to absorb there, plenty to look at, but it is sensational just to see what's going on with the finals. All
hey,
right,
Peps.
so, yeah, buddy.
Who are the Molly Meldrums this week and who are the Ninja Warriors? Do you get that reference?
The Molly Meldrums going down.
No, falling off a ladder, going down the ladder.
Okay, yep. Sorry, Melbourne was definitely a Molly Meldrum, and Essendon was a Molly Meldrum. Yep. And who would you say was going up?
Dogs moved to the top. Cats moved into second. Giants have now moved into 8, and the Crows have climbed to 15.
Oh, 15th.
So who are the Molly Meldrums?
They're the people that fall off the ladder.
Yeah, and what are the teams this week that are the Molly Meldrums?
The Melbourne. Essendon dropped to 9th.
Good to see you
Richmond
reading my
dropped
notes
to
here,
10th.
Peps. Good to see you reading
Yeah, I
notes.
didn't know where you were going with this. You could have worded it up. Like, it's not written like that on the show notes. Freo dropped to 11th, St Kilda dropped to 12th, and Collingwood dropped to 16th.
Yep. Collingwood, 2 points from the bottom.
No, don't give them the first draft pick.
No, they're
And the
giving
best
it away.
thing
No,
is
they're giving it away.
They gave it away to GWS.
Yeah.
And GWS have said, we'll take Dacos. We will actually bid for Dacos. I would love it if they had to just give up their whole war chest for Dacos.
Oh, so good.
So good. So good. All right, mate. Where do we want to go to from here? Do you want to have a look? You want to spin the magnets?
Yeah, let's spin the magnets,
Let's spin the bad boys. All righty. I think we might start off with some good. We want to start off on a high. So let's have a look at who's getting dragged this week. And obviously, the token saint of dragginess, the man who does it better than anybody, our master of dragginess, Mr. Rombarassi. It's over to you, kind sir.
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody weakest piss.
Oh, I can't wait for that shirt to come out. I cannot wait for it. Rightio. Okay. So, first and foremost, if I have to give the three votes to who should be dragged this week, it's the Gold Coast Suns. The Gold Coast Suns were at one stage 27 points up in a game, halfway through, I think, the second quarter.
Yeah.
And if you were in my house at that particular stage, I was doing cartwheels because it was going to push Brisbane out and potentially lock us into a top four.
Yep.
Hour and a half later, they've won by 49 points against the Suns.
Unbelievable.
Ridiculous. So we are looking at a 76-point turnaround. They kicked 13 of the last 14 goals in the second half. It just destroyed it. And I said during the week on our Tipped Out show that no Hipwood, no Brisbane. Well, I don't know what happened on the weekend. I don't know what happened halfway through that second quarter, but geez, they absolutely pumped them. It's like they didn't even turn up. It was like they sent out the Little League. They probably would have done a better show than the Sun. So just when you think the sun is shining, birds are singing, the clouds just unfortunately come over the horizon and just snub out any forward momentum they have. It's just a real shame. I don't know what's going on up there. They just tease and tease and tease. It's like going to the strippers with them. Just tease you, mate. Just tease you. So yeah, they're getting my 3 votes for this week, J-Dog.
Okay.
What about yourself?
Let's talk about let's talk about something we spoke about at the start of the year, Peps. We're excited about it. We're talking bags. We're talking mini bags. Mini bags.
No. Any more than a handful is a bag. More than 5 is a bag.
All
we
right.
had 2 of them on the weekend. How could you drag them for this? We're talking good news. We're talking the bad ones first, not the good ones.
Sorry. Okay. Another one.
The
Okay.
show notes, you wrote them.
Sorry, my bad ones. Could not come at a worse time. Carlton losing. I'll talk about that later on, but I'm going to say that. Carlton losing to North Melbourne could not have come at a worse time, and I'll leave that there.
Have you seen some of the footage of that mob?
Oof.
It was just damning. Like, there's just no effort.
No.
And then when I get into Splash the Cash later on, they're looking at going after someone. I'm thinking, have they got the paper bags out again, this mob? Because they're trying to nail a bloke on a potentially $750,000 a year for 4 years. Haven't they learnt from their last time that they did that with Williams and Sard? It's not going to work. And I don't care what coach they put in. It's not going to make a difference. They don't have enough going through the middle. They're at least 5 or 6 players short, that mob.
Yes.
Their bottom 6.
Yeah.
There's a lot to... And that's why I love what North did last year when they went Chen Kenichi, Iron Chef, and just sliced and diced and got rid of 10 players at the end of the year. They've rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Look where their future's looking mighty bright, better than Carlton. In my eyes, I reckon North is looking better than Carlton right now.
Yeah. All right. So who else is your drag? Who's another drag, Peps, this week?
Can I put in the Melbourne Football Club on this one?
Sure you can. It's your show.
I'm dragging them. So it's funny. I threw up a video. If anyone remembers, last year I used to throw up rants every single week when Melbourne used to lose because it happened quite a fair bit.
We've missed them.
And we've missed them, and the listeners have missed them. But I've just been trying to keep my head on it, all right? Just keep the head down low. But one of the things I wrote last year is a goal is worth 6 points, and that goes through the big sticks. And a point is if you go through the little sticks or you hit the big sticks. And you've got to play 4 quarters, not 3 quarters. And you wouldn't believe it, Jamie. It was 2021, and the same shit happened again. Their goal kicking, their set shot goal kicking this year has been putrid to the point that they've lost a game by 1 point and they lost a game by 9 points. Now, if they'd kicked straight in those games, they would have won both of them and they'd be sitting still on top of the ladder, a game clear. Yet, on the weekend, same thing happened, played the doggies. Ben Brown misses one, Brayshaw misses one, Pickett misses one, Petrarca missed one, completely missed everything. Ben Brown should have kicked 5 on the weekend. Ends up only kicking 2, I think. It's just not good enough. Like, bad kicking is bad football. I can't tell you how many times I've said it.
Petrarca's a terrible kick.
It's going to cost them.
Petrarca's a terrible kick.
As a field kick, sublime. From 50 out, sublime. On his left foot, sublime. Straight shot, 30 metres out. Oh, shit house. And there's a lot of them as well too. So they've got to get that right. Otherwise, if they lose a game, they're going to lose a final this year through bad goal kicking or lack of goal kicking.
Yep. All right. Who else? Who's now Peps? Time to make it all a positive, make it feel nice.
Yep.
Let's talk about the other side.
Oh, the other side. Are you talking about Mr. Demetrio? Mr.
Yep. Press the button. That one.
You mean
3 votes.
That's the one.
3 votes. Right. Do you remember there was a song in the 80s and it went, boys, 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 we know how to use it. Boys, boys, boys. Remember that song?
No.
Okay. Anyway, it happened on the weekend. Bags, bags, bags. We love it when they kick 'em. Bags, bags, bags. Bags. I love bags. Not that anything, 3's not a bag. 4's not a bag. 5 is not a bag, anything more. We saw a couple of bags on the weekend, big fella. Nick Larkey, my goodness gracious. What? It was against Carlton. Who cares? You've got 7 against your name, big boy.
Yeah.
No one can take that away from you. It was sensational just to watch that. So it was awesome to see he come out. It was his coming out. But I'll tell you what. We had Ben, who's been playing some sensational football. We've had Wang, who's been struggling to get a game. We've had Far, he hasn't been able to get into it. But finally, Max King, the big boy, the one who I would say is not the better king, comes out and kicks 6 of the best. But it wasn't just the 6 goals he kicked. He had 8 contested marks. Can I put this in perspective for you, J-Dog?
Sure.
West Coast had 12 in total.
Yeah.
He had 8 by himself.
Yep.
It was just beautiful to see. Love a good bag. And look, if you just want to tease a bag, it was almost a bag. It was one off. Isaac Heaney, besides taking an absolute screamer, comes out and kicks 5 himself. So I just love bags, J-Dog. I want more bags.
Yeah.
You don't want close games? Bullshit, mate. I want bags. People, do you want bags? Tell me if you like bags. Would you rather a tight game or bags? Tell me. Bags or tight or bags? Tell me on the chat.
Hang on, you're saying you want tight bags?
I want tight games with big bags.
Yeah. I like it, Peps.
That's the way I like it.
All right, Peps, mine. I've got one here, Peps, for you and for our listeners. Based on the fact that they had a win over the weekend, Cody Waitman. Has there been a better 10-week stretch? We thought the Rising Star was done, but Cody Waitman has had an absolute stellar 10 weeks he's put together. So he took a massive hanger over Max Gawn, which is absolutely fantastic because who doesn't love seeing Max Gawn be the biggest stepladder in the AFL? He's kicked 17 goals from 10 games. He's super lively in front of goal. I'm telling you, this Rising Star Award is not over. Everyone thought it was going to be Mitch Georgiadis, who I tipped at the start of the year. This is not over yet because Peps, Cody Waitman is going to be in there in a fight because he's up there. Cody Waitman is up there this year as in Rising Star.
No chance.
Star?
No chance.
Okay.
Oh, he's kicked some goals. Good on him. Sorry,
kicked 17, Peps. No. 17. 17 10. No.
What? He's kicked 17 goals in 10 games?
In the last 10 in the last 10 games.
Hey, good on him. But he's not going to win it. He's not going to win it.
He's
going to say a player on the weekend. No, there's a magnificent player on the weekend.
Mitch Georgiadis. We've spoken about this already, our listeners and us. Yeah.
No. I don't think
you're not going to say Luke Jackson, are we?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I think he's had a better year than
Tom
Cody
Green.
Layton.
Tom Green.
I reckon he might get it. He had 31 on the weekend.
Yeah,
He's good.
he's
He's good. He's like looking in a mirror.
he's good. He's good.
He's good. All righty. I'm having a look here. Oh, by the way, some have come in. Charlie Keegan, he likes big bags. Jazz Ruboy wants big bags. Nick the Werfick Thiel, I can't even pronounce it. He prefers sacks over bags. I don't know. So there's lots of sacks, there's lots of bags, but there's lots of excitement about football at the moment. All righty. So
What else? One more. One more.
The last one.
Yeah.
Look, I just think it's simple as this. Just some injuries towards the end of the season. Pendlebury's gone for the rest of the year.
It is good?
Yeah, it's pretty much he's going to be done. Broken leg.
Hang on, are you saying these are good things or these are bad things?
They've been good for the game, but it's not good that they've broken. I've got it around the wrong way again, haven't I? Okay. Actually,
how about the Suns
why
don't
do we
need
do show
Buggies
notes
much
for?
anymore?
We get them wrong every week. I just think the way that the top of the ladder's compressed.
Yeah,
There's potentially 6 teams to sweet slot in the top 4.
It's like it's not like Kenny Calendar then. Sweet spot of the foot.
It's top 4 teams going to slot into the top 4. 6 teams in the top 4. It's going to be exciting time heading in the 4 rounds left in the AFL season.
You're right, Peps. It has been a really compressed top 4, and at this point, we sort of knew where last year it was going to be Brisbane Lions or Port Adelaide. This year, any one of those teams can still fall to 5th and 6th.
Yep, I know, and I'm a little bit scared by that. But that's something that we're going to look forward to potentially over the next couple of weeks. There's games still being chucked around everywhere. We don't know what's going on there. There's lots of questions. There's so many things coming through. We have the answers to some of them. Some of them we're not too sure. So we'll see what we can find out during. All righty. It's time to go around the grounds. With
Rising Star, Peps. Let's go around the
Rising Star. Okay, well, there's only one bloke who's the Rising Star this week, and that is Adelaide's Harry Schoenberg.
Yeah.
What a cracker. He has been an absolute starlight for this bloke, averaging 21 disposals across the month. Picked up 24 in the win against Hawthorn the other night. He's a 20-year-old taken with pick 24 in the 2019 draft, played every game this year and is managing 8 in his debut season. And the third crow, I think that says more about it as well too, the third crow to get one after Lockie Scholl and Riley Thilthorpe in both rounds 4 and 13 respectively. Okay, so
well done.
Unbelievable.
3 for the Crows.
Unbelievable. Pardon?
Good job. 3 for the Crows. Good job.
I know. Very, very good job. All right, big boy. This is what you specialise in. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before. You don't need Hutchie. You don't need Slobbo, and you don't need Eddie or any of the Toms when you've got Jamie, the J-Dog Wallis, the number one newsman on this podcast you'll ever see. On any podcast. He's the man. Over to you, over to you, champ.
All right. So this week, our Premier Dan Andrews has come onto the TV and said there'll be no crowds at AFL matches in Victoria for at least 2 weeks. So Mr. Andrews came on confirming the easing of restrictions, but for those fans who want to attend a game, there would be no fans at a Victorian game for at least 2 weeks. So that means that round 22 is the earliest possible time that we could be allowed back in. Now, that comes as 7 weeks before the 2021 grand final, which is currently scheduled to be played at the MCG. So just to give some context for those listeners at home, when the season kicked off, it was 7 weeks before the MCG even got to 50% capacity. So, Peps, a couple of questions for you, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to see a grand final played at the MCG with potentially maximum of 50%, or are we happy to let it move again to like a Perth or an Adelaide or Brisbane again?
Nope. If you can get 50% in the G, 50% can go.
Really? You want to see the MCG on the biggest day of football with crowds that rivaled Melbourne's crowds? No, half than that. We're talking 50% of the MCG filled up.
Which is 50,000.
Which is 50,000.
50,000? Certainly.
Really?
Yep.
You want to see the biggest game at 50,000?
Well, where else would you play, Jamie?
Perth?
Perth. They've really looked after us, haven't they, this year?
Put it this way. There's nothing better than watching EPL with those tiny little grounds with the crowds absolutely humming versus and big empty stadium. We've seen what the MCG looks like empty. It looks terrible.
Jamie.
It's a terrible view.
It's different.
Let's move it on.
Grand final day.
I'm
Grand
moving
final
on.
day. Grand final day.
Let's move it. Let's move it along.
No.
I would rather see a packed Adelaide Oval than a half.
Well, Adelaide aren't going to get it because what have they done for us this year? Nothing. So you can get stuffed.
I'd rather see a packed, whatever the thing.
Perth Stadium, Optus
Perth.
Stadium.
Yeah,
maybe, but no, I think
you'd want to see that.
If
I don't know.
Yes, it's the home of football. You play the grand final. Gee, if you can get 50,000 ferals into the ground, is going to be better than any other stadium. I'm sorry. It has to be the G.
Maybe
everybody loves the G.
Maybe let's just get the pocket cut out again and put it down in GMHBA Stadium. Let's have Geelong as a home this year.
So this is the problem with you. You're a great co-host, but then you just take it all the way to 11-inch stupidity.
Why can't we turn Marvel into the ground that it was designed to be?
Move on, Jamie. Just move on. Listeners, tell him to move on. Thank you.
All right, next one. As we know, the Sydney Swans challenged their buddy ban. He got 1 week for an elbow to the Fremantle. Who was it to? Who was it to? Luke Ryan. Yep. Luke Ryan's head. The tribunal have this evening overturned the 1 week suspension, and he is now free to play against Essendon on Friday night. So he's on 983 goals, needing just 17 more to become just the sixth player in AFL VFL history to crack the quadruple figures alongside Tony Lockett, Gordon Coventry, Jason Dunstall, Doug Wade, and Gary Ablett Sr. Peps, are you happy by this? Are you not excited by this?
Okay. This is simply how it goes. It was a disgrace of a decision. But they had to let him go.
Yeah.
They had to let him go, and it was simply because they had stuffed up some decisions earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
And that's what's caused the issue. Now, one of the guys who's on the chat with us, we know him as Heath Buxton. Bucko. My kids know him as No Neck Guy, right? He's going to love the shout out tonight. No Neck Guy threw something out. The AFL is just all about head-high contact is a farce because that's head-high contact. But because there was no damage that had resulted out of it, it was let go. So it just goes to show, and it's been proven for a long, long time, it's no longer about the action. It is all about the outcome. Now, Buddy threw his elbow back. Point of the elbow hit him on. Should have got a week. Absolutely should have got a week. Should have probably even got two because of the action. Like, you can't tell me he knew what he was doing. So he should have got at least a week for stupidity.
Yeah.
But no, because the AFL, and he's got the Lenny Hayes rule against him, J-Dog. Good guy rule. The good guy rule. And the good guy rule means that you don't get weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Juddy threw an elbow, split a guy's face open, didn't even get a week.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and apparently I owe him some royalties. He's just jumped onto the chat now saying that I owe him some royalties for this comment. But tell you what, he's a very passionate Hawk supporter and he'll tell you about it. Loves his horse racing. And usually when he makes a comment, he's pretty much on par, and he's exactly on par with what he said.
Sydney's defence revolved around the fact that Joe Danaher, Luke Shuey, and Nick Voston were all fine this year, as what you're alluding to with your comment earlier.
Well, there shouldn't be precedent. They say that there's no precedent, but there obviously is. So it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And that's just another sign of the AFL get serious about matters when they want to be and not when they're on others. Now, is it ever going to change? I don't know. But you can't preach one thing and then do something completely the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not right in my opinion. He should have got a week for that. And I love the guy, and I hope that he kicks the 17 to get to 1,000 because it'll be amazing. It'll probably end up with about 4 or 5 short and have to do a full preseason again unless Sydney make the finals, which they will. So he'll probably kick it in the finals. But yeah, he should have got a week at least just for stupidity. You can't just go throwing elbows and expecting nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Peps.
And the worst thing was he was fined $3,000.
Yeah.
He could find that in his ashtray in the car. Not the Jeep that was written off, but the other one.
He was earning that more per hour on the sidelines, injured for the last 2 years. Peps, have you ever been yelled at by a team member on the field?
You watch the comments start dropping through. Yes, many times.
Peps, Chad Wingard has been criticised by a couple of football experts for his
Who are the experts? First of all, who are the experts? Let's just say
David King and who the other guy, the little fat guy now. What's his name? Lee Montagna. So look, he had a bit of a fire. Sorry, Chad Wingard had a fire exchange with Jacob Kozzie during Saturday night's loss to Adelaide. They captured the footage at 3/4 time with the 27-year-old Wingard admonishing the 21-year-old Kozzie for around a minute. Kozzie for around a minute in the middle of the ground, basically because he didn't kick it to him. That's what it appeared to me. The young goat was going for a kick himself, and he said Wingard wasn't happy because he's a sook. Anyway, so he went on for 60 seconds. So he went back 1, 2, and 3 times, and he just had a massive crack at him. Peps, is that the right thing to be doing? Is that not the right thing to be doing? Could it be done better?
Oh, Jesus Christ. What an overreaction this is. Look, players punch on with each other all the time. The number of times that people yelled at me for doing stupid things, and they still do it. I haven't played for 10 years. It just happens, right? But once again, as it's come in on the chat, Chad Wingard.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a young player. He didn't kick it to you. Well, big deal. Seeing what you've been getting the ball this year, you haven't actually done much with it when you've actually got it this year, Chad.
Yeah.
And you haven't done much with it for the last number of years.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're whinging about. Did they actually know what was said? Did they actually know? Did they have a microphone hearing what they said? No. And also, David King, I think, had the angry pills when he played. And Lee Montagna probably got yelled at a little bit as well too, because he's got a case of the Lenny Hayes nice guys as well. So, yeah, players are going to have punch-ons on the field all the time, especially if they're frustrated.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't have gone on 3 times for over 6. That's a bit over the top. That's a bit of peacock and look at me business.
Well, he sure is famous for having a crack at his teammates.
Yeah, but he's a premiership player, 300 games. Like,
absolutely.
That's a special type of person to play 300 games.
I've got no problems with having a crack at each other in the field. Love it. But yeah.
You know what, J-Dog? They've probably just got up in the rooms after the game, sat down, probably cracked a Pepsi or splashed a Gatorade over each other and said, you know what, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's all good. Just media blow up because they've got nothing better to talk about because the football at times this year has been absolutely shit. And Hawthorn
all right.
Shit.
Okay. Peps is really letting hang out. All right. Is this the last bit of news? Yeah, I got the last bit of news for you. Okay, Peps.
Yep.
Carlton officials this week will receive the findings from external review into the football department with coach David Teague precariously placed after his side's loss to bottom-placed North Melbourne. So the Blues do remain a mathematical chance to make the finals in 2021, but the loss to the Roos on Saturday effectively dashed any hopes of any late season surge, despite winning, if they were to win, 3 of the last 4 matches. So Kane Little is absolutely aware that this is coming in this week. And yeah, we don't know when we're going to be found. We don't know when, the public are going to find out. But Peps, what do you reckon that report would say?
You shit. What more can I say? Like the coaching, you can't blame the coach for everything. All right?
No.
And there's so much off-field stuff that gets spoken about. They've made massive mistakes over the last couple of years from a recruiting perspective.
Yeah.
We could go into Williams. That was the biggest farce.
Well, Teague has been there for that, though.
Yeah, but he doesn't make the decision. He doesn't make the overall list management decisions. He'll say, do you want him or not? He'll say, yeah, but he's not the one who goes, yes, sign off on the contract. That's to do with the football manager, the CEO, all that sort of stuff. And for the big contracts,
all right,
they had to bring them in.
Let me ask you this, Peps.
Yeah.
Teague is still there until is contracted until 2022.
So the end of next year. Okay. Yep.
What would you do? Waste another year, or not? No, that's the wrong word. Sorry, I asked that again. Would you either just sit on your hands for another year or make a move now?
Well, see, I don't think they're sitting on their hands. They've had you throw a fit Charlie Curnow in that forward line.
Yeah.
And a fit Patrick Cripps into that forward line.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a good nucleus. Harry Mackay is sensational. We all know about Walsh.
Yeah.
Okay. Paddy Dow's starting to play some very good football. It's only taken him, like goodness knows, 3 years to actually find the spot where he needs to play. A little bit like Darcy Parish.
Yeah.
Batman's still going on all right down at fullback with old Liam Jones. Like Pitnet's still going okay, but I think it's actually their lower, once again, it's their bottom 6 that keep letting them down. If you have a look at the bottom 6 plays in that team, there are some that you're just going, That's where they're getting let down. And when they're not doing their thing, it just makes the other players have to work harder. They're going to get tired more often. I just think there's bigger fish to fry. I reckon even if you grab the gun coach, you still wouldn't get a massive result out of that Carlton list.
Well, the problem keeps coming back
The coach is the easiest one. The coach is the easiest person to chop out with, mate.
The defense has not fixed itself in all of this time that Teague's been there. They still look confused coming out of the back line. They still collapse in on the foot. They still collapse in and let corridor just open to the defense. Third term, North Melbourne kicked 7 goals to Carlton's 4 points.
How good was it? I watched that game. I watched that game. And all I was thinking was... That's all that I was thinking was Kanga, because it was essential. They were playing fast footy, but some of the footage, like they were showing some of the down the ground, and this is what I'm saying. The senior coach gives the overall game plan, etc., but the back line will be working with the back line coach, and if things aren't working, it's his responsibility to come in and shore things up. That's who they spend most of their time with.
Yeah.
So, and during the game, you can't coach effort. Effort is just something that's within you. You know, you play hockey, right? I've played footy. There's people on the chat here who've played footy every game. There are some players that have that much skill in their left fingernail.
Yeah.
Yet they just don't do anything with it. And you get some people who have just got nothing. They can't kick, they can't mark, but they show so much effort. You throw them as a tagger and they can literally stop anyone because they've got the will over the skill.
Oh.
Carlton just don't have anyone with will at the moment. They were just running through them. They were blue witches' hats.
Can I make a statement? Peps could be the biggest statement I'm going to make on this podcast, actually.
You don't really make any big ones, so it's not as big as my Richmond will not make finals, apparently 10 weeks ago. I'm looking good about that one.
Peps, can we agree that everyone who plays the AFL is extremely skilled?
You've got to be skilled to play AFL. You've got to.
Good.
Well, you've got to be doing something right.
That statement there. So I believe that you said effort before. I reckon structure is what you need. And Teague just has no structure for that team. There is no structure to anything they do.
Structure?
Coaches.
No structure here. Robbo? No structure.
So Teague should be the one out there telling him exactly what he wants the game plan to be, and then that gets pushed down to his line coaches. They don't have that. Teague, at this point, doesn't appear to be doing that.
No, you got to get your defence short up first, and they're just... Well, I think it was their 7th game where their opposition has scored over 100 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your defence is not working.
Your
defence is not working.
All right. Well, that brings us to the...
Everyone, though, it's going to be hitting the recruiting. It's going to be hitting from the board perspective, I believe. It's going to be hitting even as far as the football director, Brad Lloyd. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be an overnight success. Once again, I'll say it, you got to get the off-field right to get the on-field right. They haven't got the off-field right for quite a long time.
Peps, are you telling me that Carlton should go down the Port Adelaide Kenny route? Just 10 years?
I reckon they should go down Michael Voss. I reckon they should go for Vossi.
Well, Vossi's in the fight of his life for the Collingwood job.
Adam Kingsley's got that one. And thank you very much to Joel Michael, a person on this podcast, gave me the heads up. I got him at 35s.
Very nice. All right, Peps.
Fingers crossed.
Let's go.
All right. Rightio, big fella. Is it time to splash the cash?
Yeah, do you have it?
I've got the cash, mate. Mate, I prepare for this show every single week. You can learn a few things. All right, splash the cash time. Not a lot from the contract side of things. I think the big one that come out was after he's using Max Gawn as a stepladder for the 3rd time this season. Cody Waitman signed on with the Doggies for an extra 2 years. Geez, he's a little excitement machine, isn't he? He's a little bit of a chin wagger. He's like, remember in the cartoons with the big dog? Hey, Ralph, Ruffy. The little one that goes around and is a little annoying. I reckon he'd be like around the bont. He'd be at the bottom of the bont. Hey, Bont, got the gravy? That would be the one. So he gets another 2 years. Jake Stringer has signed an incentive-based contract for 3 seasons with the Bombers, extending him out.
Yeah.
Now, my theory, I want to know on the weekend, how did he play on the weekend, listeners, or J-Dog? Did you see what he did on the weekend?
I think he had 14 disposals.
He did nothing, did he? There he goes. Gets his contract, does nothing. There we go. The package always delivers.
Now, Peps, you have a bit of a
contract time.
You have a bit of a trade talk going on a bit here, Peps.
Yeah, Got a bit of trade stuff, little bits and pieces going on as well too. So it has to do with contract news and just things moving forward as well too. So splashing the cash, Charlie Constable from Geelong wants to is opting to get out of Geelong. Just can't break into the team in 2021.
Yep.
I've done a bit of research and I know why. He's under 35 and Geelong only play players over 35. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge for him. He's just going to have to wait a few seasons. The situation over in Fremantle, Adam Chera, he's still not being signed up with Fremantle. The talks are still going on.
Yeah.
Carlton, this is the one I was talking about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I know.
How can Carlton, after everything that they've done over the last number of years, they've still got to pay Walsh, who'll be close to $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And they've still got to sign up McKay, I believe, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to spend, now this is the rumour, 750 grand over 4 years.
I'll take him at 75.
I'll take him at 75. But 750 over 4, where are they going to get the money from?
Hey, Collingwood, Carlton are famous for a bit of extra payment.
Michael Gibbons is going to get a Booty Beetle show bag and a Sunny Boy for his contract next year because that's all that they'll be able to afford.
Yeah, look, are they going to get some Vizzy payments?
I think they might get some Vizzy payments. Yep. Or maybe some payments from Juddy's Architecture.
Is Mark Lajudice going to be there still? He looks like a bit of a mobster.
Oh, I reckon he loves a Lajudice. He would just love a pasta carbonara down on Lygon Street with a nice vino. You just see it. Daniel Talia is still yet to hear from Adelaide about a new contract. Same for Cale Hooker.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting one. Talia's
they're shopping him around. Him and Sauce.
Peter Wright?
They're shopping him around.
Maybe. I'd have a look at Jacobs. He's not the worst going around. No. Quinton Narkle. How can this? Once again, he's under 35, so he's not getting a game. He raised some eyebrows that he's in a similar sort of situation to Constable.
Yeah. Yep.
He came on the weekend and absolutely turned it on.
He came
on after being subbed in for Selwood after the weekend's game. Came on, just not getting the opportunity, and he would crave it at another club. I'd love him for a bit of outside run at the D's, I would say. Yep. Jack Billings wants to stay at St Kilda, but that's still not being finalised. And Eston supporters, something nice and juicy for you. Jaden Laverde's talks for extending his contract have started after resurgence in 2021. So lots of bits and pieces there. There's some rumours coming through that Josh Kelly will be at North. That sounds like it's going to be pretty much locked in. He's got that option of taking up the 8-year contract, or will he go to North for $1 million? Well, I'll tell you what, North aren't looking too shabby. They could use a bit down there. Max Gawn is not retiring, Mr. Buxton, simply because he's going to have to. Well, he might actually go down to Bunnings aisle 12, not for the stepladder section, but maybe to the wheelbarrow section to wheel home his 5th All-Australian Ruckman Award this year. And that's the splashing of the cashin'.
I like
Big
it.
fella, injuries.
Right.
We're going to have a chat about some injuries.
Oh, you going to play a little music?
Yep.
There we go.
There we go, Petey. All right, talk about some injuries, big boy. What's happened on the weekend? Because we had some high value targets go down over the weekend.
We did. North Melbourne will be without Taron Thomas for Saturday's clash against Geelong, with the informed youngster suffering a delayed concussion. So Thomas, who booted 4 goals in the win over Carlton, suffered the incident during the game, but was assessed and cleared to return. But the 21-year-old later developed symptoms and will now enter the AFL's 12-day concussion protocol.
Probably his best game for the club on the weekend.
Easily.
Good, wasn't he? It was like
real good.
Finally, it was against Carlton too, so it could have happened to a nicer mob.
Wow, speaking of Carlton, Zach Williams and Eddie Betts have been ruled out of Carlton's clash against St Kilda, while Coleman medal leader Harry McKay is an outside chance to return this week. So that news has basically not helped the Carlton football department, especially with that report pending. And Carlton's final hopes is to hang by a thread as they sit 6 points out of the top 8 with 4 rounds left to play. So you got Williams with a hamstring, Betts with an ankle, all being injured in last Saturday's horror defeat to North Melbourne.
A pop quiz hotshot. Would you give Eddie Betts another year?
No.
So you reckon he's taking the spot of somebody else on that list?
I just think Carlton just need to just get rid of some of the players that are Carlton.
I get that, but he's still performing.
No, not consistently for mine.
Okay. Maybe.
All right. Western Bulldogs are likely to be
Yes.
the big one here. Huge news for Western Bulldogs are likely to be without Alex Keith for the rest of this home and away season after the defender suffered a hamstring strain against Melbourne on Saturday night. He was subbed out during the first quarter of the 20-point win of the Demons, with the scans revealing a low-grade strain. The 29-year-old hasn't missed a game since his 2 years at the Dogs after joining from Adelaide.
The other one is also Ed Richards as well too. Got a bit of a knee to the head on the weekend.
Okay.
Accidental, yeah. And I think they've taken him off as a precautionary. I'm not too sure whether that's going to be one of the concussion mandates.
Yeah.
But they did take him off because it was very minor if it was. And it was probably in a way a good thing because he was tearing us apart.
Yep. Big one here for it's a bad round for some of the stars of the game. Fremantle Nat Fyfe season is over after he dislocated his right shoulder in the second consecutive match. While Michael Walters could also be sidelined for the rest of the year. Fyfe was selected after slightly injuring his shoulder, but again dislocated it very early on, and that's that season done for him. So he'll go off and have some surgery now on that shoulder.
He's already had the surgery. He's already done. He's already wired up, and
nice.
I think with him out and Walters out, Fremantle are going to be out. No chance to make the 8. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the final one there, Collingwood Scott Pendlebury will be in a moon boot for at least a month after sustaining a hairline fracture to his left fibula against the Power on the second quarter of Friday night last week, thus bringing an end to his 2021 season because Collingwood aren't making the finals.
And one more that's just come in from Jared Hodgetts. Looks like Brian Myers will be out for the rest of the year with a broken leg as well. So that definitely messes up with Geelong's age profile. So they're going to have to try and find someone under the age of 35 to bring in. And I know that they've got 2, but outside of that, I think they're going to struggle. Alrighty. Hey, Dog, we know what time it is. It's for our listener question of the week. So last week, what was the listener question from last week, big man?
Last week's question was, what would you do if you were the CEO of the AFL? What would you do to keep the season alive?
Okay, so what are some of the responses that have come in from our gorgeous listener group? And even on the chat, if you're listening to this right now, what would you do to make the AFL season this year push along due to COVID? Just throw something in while we're reading these out.
And I just killed that tab, so that's good. Let's just do this. Oops. All right, so we had a couple of comments here. Josh Weymouth, Flaming Josh, said, just cancel it. If we all have to be locked down and not able to go 5 kilometres, then why should they? They're hardly essential workers, are they? I like it. Another person,
I don't agree.
Josh Franklin, has come out and said, just cancel it and play the full 1993 season on the picture wireless week by week. Obviously must be an Essendon fan.
Whilst you're doing that, Heath Buxton has said more streakers. And Nick Thiel has come out with just move every team down to Tasmania and just keep them in a bubble and play. Daily games, AFL every day, baby. I reckon that's not a bad idea. Double the population down there if the whole AFL community went down. Imagine all of them at Rest Point Casino.
That would be intense. And two grounds down there, they get pretty chopped up. Have you seen Metricon? That looks terrible at the moment.
Yeah, it's Metricon, but Gold Coast are terrible, so it suits them.
All right.
Is that it? Is that all the comments we had? That's it?
Yeah, it was. Because you know what?
That was a shit question last week, Jamie.
Do you know why, Peps? Do you know why? Because we went away from our formula of food questions.
So have you got a better one for this week?
I do.
Okay, here we go. All right, so strap yourselves in, everybody, because after last week, we need something special. All right.
Ready for this, Peps?
Let's hear it. Go for it.
What is the best pizza topping?
Haven't we had this one already?
No.
What is the best pizza topping?
Yeah, so are you a Hawaiian man? Are you a meat lovers man?
Oh.
Are you a supreme? Are you a guy who doesn't mind the old anchovies on top? What is it? What is the best pizza topping? Topping. What do you call it? What do you call the top of a pizza?
Pizza topping.
Flavor? It's the best pizza flavor? I don't even know what that even is. What do you call it?
Mate.
What do you call the Peps?
The top of the pizza. The lot. You call it the lot. It's just called the lot, all right? It's just called the lot, Nick.
What's it called, Peps? What's the top of the pizza
just
called?
Pizza topping. Just your what type? What type of pizza do you like? Do you like?
There we go.
There we go. Unbelievable. All right.
There we go. Anyway, so what type of pizza is the best? Hawaiian, whatever you want to go with.
Prawns and mushrooms.
Aussie. Why is no one talking about the Aussie anymore?
Why is pizza served in a square? I don't know. I thought they were served in a restaurant.
I don't know. Meat lovers and chicken. I like it. All right.
Meat lovers and chicken. What about a what do they say? A vegetarian with hot salami. Apparently, that's the in thing the kids are doing these days.
Is that what your kids get?
No, they don't get pizza.
No.
Disposable income, can't afford it. That just costs me too much in legal fees. Alrighty. Okay, 1 week at a time, J-Dog. So we're looking at this week's games. Round 20 we're about to kick into this week. And so plenty of games to look at, lots of stuff to chat about. What's caught your eye and what's the game that you're looking forward to this week?
I'm going to take myself all the way down to Optus Stadium.
Okay. What's
Dockers
going on
versus Tigers.
Okay.
I'm interested in that game because I want to see this. No, I can't say that actually. I was going to say this is the last hurrah for the Tigers, but this game here is really to battle out who, if they want it, if this year is the year for them. Simple as that.
Well, I've actually got two games I'm looking at here. One's on Saturday afternoon at the traditional home of the Gabba, which is going to be, looking at this at the moment, it's going to be Essendon and Sydney. So Essendon potentially could make finals.
Another good one, yes.
And Sydney potentially.
And you've chosen for the same reason as me, Peps. Do Essendon want it? Or do they not want it?
Do they want it or they don't want it? According to Ben Brutton, he goes, that'd be a waste of time. I think it'd be stupid if you're not striving for a top 8 position. And there's also a game at 3:10 at the venue to be chosen, the Giants versus your mob. Same sort of position. You need to keep your top 4. Giants want a top 8. So there's going to be 2 8-point games there. Teams could solidify their position or teams could lose their position in the top 8. It's some cracking games up there at the moment. There's a couple of games still to be decided where it's going to be played yet. We're not too sure what that is. That's the Melbourne and Gold Coast game.
Yeah.
But once again, I think they're just still trying to
Just imagine if Melbourne lose this week to Gold Coast and we win.
Jamie, don't say stupid like that.
No, we're playing Jedwest. We could actually lose that. Legit.
Yeah. We'll find out who loses when we do tipped out this week. We tipped out. Alrighty. So I think it's going to be some cracking games this week. The other one that I'm having we'll have a bit of a look at. It's North versus Geelong.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because it's going to be down in Hobart, and North are playing good footy. And let's see what the Cats will do if they fall into a bit of a moral like some other teams Melbourne do when they play bottom edge teams. I reckon they're a big chance down there. Could be the surprise of the year.
I like it.
Right.
I like it.
Hey, that's a cracking episode, and we're under our normal time frame, so that's good. Everybody gets to see the last bit of maths.
It is. Are we going to open up to our listener questions for 6 minutes?
Yeah, listener questions. So any listener questions that are coming through, so throw them in on the chat. So a couple of things that have come in so far. We don't know what's wrong with Robbo. If we knew, we would let you know, but we don't have any information at the moment, so I don't know that.
Just wish him the best. People
the best.
People don't like him, but I think he's passionate.
Charlie Keegan wrote, is Nick Larkey the best pick 73 you've seen?
Best pick 73? Specifically that number?
Yeah, well, he was pick 73 in the draft. Has he been the best pick 73 in the draft?
I think Robbie Gray was up somewhere around the 70s, so
James Hird was in the 70s, so if you say in the 70s, it's got a bit to do. He's only kicked 7. It's a good start, but he's got to pick up. We've got Robbie Gray and James Hird in that mixture. It's got a bit of fighting to do, but he's going all right at the moment.
Nick, bloody from the Portraits podcast. Thoughts on Adelaide winning the best Australian living city in the world? But it's because they're bored. Obviously, the people have got there. They've died of boredom, and that's where their pen note finished. I'm in Adelaide. And then they died.
And survived.
And then they've found that notepad and they're gone, oh, they've written Adelaide as the last town. That must be the winner. Clearly.
One of the other ones that's come up is there a bias towards the Western Bulldogs and umpiring at the moment?
Oh, we're going down 2016 again, are we?
No, I'm not, but it's come up a couple of times already. I'm not going 2016, but they've they've got like 63 plus free kicks against their opposition this year.
They were kissed on on Sunday.
It was like 25-11, if that. Yeah, I don't agree with it. Let me have a look else as well. Is the AFL a farce? Don't write loaded questions. We all know the answer to that one. Okay. And the last one that I'm by the way, Travis Boak, 300 games.
Oh,
what a star, Jamie. How much does this guy mean to your club?
The ultimate. He is the ultimate. He is top 5 conversation of all-time Port Adelaide players. If he was over in the eastern states, he would have a much, much, much bigger profile over here in Victoria.
Beautiful. Yep, beautiful. And one last thing, Australia have drawn with Croatia, 1-1 in the water polo 4 minutes in. So that's a great result heading into the closure of the show. But last thing I have to say, Jamie, if you have a look what Adrian Dodoro did last year, when he got rid of Sard, he got rid of Fantasia, got rid of Danaher. And at the time, we were thinking...
I know this is going.
What was going on? What was going on? All right?
Yeah.
And then after seeing the blokes he's brought in at 7, 8, and 9 in the draft this year, was it a masterstroke or has it just been luck of what's happened with Essendon throwing in a bit of truck as well?
Probably masterstroke. As much as I hate to say that because I can't fucking stand the guy.
Yeah, I can't stand him either. I think the other people that do like him are Essendon supporters and they love him. They think he's frustrating, but they love him. Isn't
it true when your team says, "Oh, they're in talks of getting this player at Essendon," you're just like, "Oh,
what's the point?
God? Why are we doing this?"
No, waste of time. No, look, I think what he's done has been sensational. He's just been really lucky that 2 out of the 3 have been playing some good football in Cox and Perkins so far this year.
Yeah.
But I think Darcy Parish, he'll probably take out the best and fairest this year. Stringer's played a bit of football, and just even Laverde down back has been awesome as well too. Probably the best set shot in the league. Tip and Woody. Who are we talking about, J-Dog? That bloke. Remember him? This guy.
Oh, that guy.
That guy. Yeah, so Tip has been playing some good football. Yeah, he's been a good find. So I think they've been good. Hopefully they play finals. I don't want to play them because I'm scared of them.
Any other questions in there, Peps?
No, that's it. And once again, Nick can't wait to see them play his 400th in 5 years' time. But I can't wait to see you guys again next Tuesday night. So do me a favour, everybody. Just tell everybody, when I put the show note link up in your Spotify or your iTunes, share it with someone. Leave us a review, please. Everybody needs to hear about this great podcast. The people in the chat, you're an absolute bunch of superstars. We love you. And everybody listening to this around the world. We went to 13 different countries last week, 13, including Canada, India, I think even the Philippines was in there as well too. We're everywhere. We're global, all right? Let's get into it. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you. Remember, Thursday night tipped out. J-Dog, it's the end of the show, so the simple question is, how do you want your footy?
Peps, I like it. Lace out.
And so do I. Have a great week, listeners. Tipped out Thursday night.
See you, listeners.
Thanks for listening to our latest episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on iTunes. I'm your host, Chris Pepper, and with Jamie Wallis, we give you your footy how you want it. Peace out.